It's time for a little R&R.
Ball into the bucket, lays it up and in.
Ball game, Rizzo! Live in the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios, this is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
This team is going to be tough when they finally get it together.
Sit back and relax. Let Russo and Rizzo take you home.
Oh, mercy! Light him up, Colin!
A remote edition of Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Colin Russo here, Christian Cat, with me back at the City Place Studios in downtown West Palm Beach. I'm actually not local. I am at ESPN Chicago, up in downtown, up in the city in the Midwest. Having a great time here, but I'm able to work, and we got Game 7 of the NBA Finals to preview coming up on Sunday between the Indiana Pacers and the OKC Thunder. Now, it's interesting because there have only been about 4 or 5 Game 7s in the NBA Finals in the 2000s, or since 2000, I should say. And some famous ones, of course, from 2016, which was the last one we had when the Cavs came down from back 3-1. And before that was another LeBron-led team with the Miami Heat. That was the Ray Allen shot game, which everybody remembers. And they forced a Game 7, and the Heat ended up winning that one. There was a couple more opportunities where the Lakers forced a Game 7 after being down 3-2. The Pistons had a chance at doing it against the Spurs in 2005. The Spurs ended up closing them out. The Knicks famously in 94, up 3-2 in the series. Rockets storm back, win 2 straight, win the series. There have actually been a lot more teams who are down 3-2 who went on to win the series if and when they force a Game 7, comparatively to teams that are able to respond off a Game 6 loss to tie up the series. Now the Thunder, this is going to be a soul-searching time because on Sunday, ABC, 7 p.m., there is going to be a lot to learn about that city, that team, those players, that coach, and the Indiana Pacers, with or without Tyrese Halliburton at 100%, are here to stay, and they're going to be in that game. That I can promise you today. We got a packed program ahead. 2 hours right here on ESPN 106.3, streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter/X at ESPN West Palm. 888-760-3776. The best 2 words in sports, Game 7. We didn't get one in the Stanley Cup, but we're happy about that because we want to see the Florida Panthers win 2 in a row. But now we get it in the NBA side of things in a series that has sort of been unimportant in the macro scale of what sports has been talked about in the last couple weeks because of the markets of the team. But now, hey, Game 7, there is not a soul that can complain about seeing a good series back and forth with a lot of drama, especially in Game 7. The OKC Thunder, if I had to call it now, I'm going to get this out of the way early. If I had to call it now, I would say that we are going to see the Indiana Pacers hoist that trophy in Oklahoma City on Sunday. That would be my initial prediction. Not only because of what I saw last night, but I think it's a very dangerous game for a team that's up 3-2 in the series with an opportunity to win the championship and to put up the dud that OKC did, where they not only rolled over and died. The Pacers would have beaten anybody last night, but the OKC Thunder, I mean, they shot 40% from the field, fine. They couldn't hit a 3. They had no momentum offensively. They got nothing going. And the Pacers were a hard team to beat, but laying an egg like that in that environment, it's a very slippery slope. It almost feels like the Pacers shouldn't be here, and yet they are. And now they're a game away. If there's a story attached to this postseason, it's that just when you think the Pacers are dead, they're not. And it showed again in Game 6. I assume the majority of the money was on OKC because of the Halliburton injury to the calf. And I'm sure most of the money on Hard Rock Bet was in favor of OKC. But because of that's what the Pacers are, the idea that they could roll back basically halfway in the grave and still give you a decent punch, that team's going to win it all. That team's going to win it all. Christian Catt, a producer today. Christian, your reaction after last night, are you on board with me? Do you think the Indiana Pacers are going to be the team to hoist that trophy, the Larry O'Brien, this time Sunday night?
When I don't have dollars attached to it, like I don't have an Oklahoma City Thunder future or an NBA Finals MVP future, it's all just rooting interest. I always default to the underdog, and it's hard to separate what I'm rooting for what I think is going to happen, because I don't want to think I'm going to be disappointed. I'll look optimistically all the way. I am right lockstep with you on what I think is going to happen in the series. And yes, the Pacers are 7.5-point underdogs going into Game 7 on the road on Sunday. If you convert that into a percentage chance to win that game, they have about a 23% chance to win the NBA Finals. Just got to win 2 coin flips. Just got to call heads once, get it right, call tails the next time, and get it right again. And bam, that is your NBA Finals champion, one of the most unlikely champions in the history of the league. I'm right, so I want that history. I don't want the Thunder. Really, when they compare to the expectations, it would be an underwhelming championship. They could have just blown the Pacers out of the water, and we would talk about how dominant the Thunder are in the relation to league history. That would be your historical significance of this series if you were to try to find something about it. We didn't get that. We got a series that we did not expect to see coming. We didn't see Game 6, let alone Game 7, with the mismatch we were perceived to have. Give me the historic, somehow, David versus Goliath, not only in the series, but in the grand scape of this playoffs in general. No one had the Pacers being here, let alone winning it at the end. Give me the Pacers.
In the last 5 NBA Finals that the NBA has seen, there's only been 5 since 1990. And I've talked about a few of them already, but think about that for a second. That's 35 years. We've only had 5 NBA Finals Game 7s. And some of the more notable ones, a lot of these teams were down 3-2 in the series. It's about capturing momentum. There's the small increments in between each game, Game 1 and Game 2, and then winning the next 2 on the road. These are a lot of ways paired together in terms of your momentum, the ebbs and flows, if you will. The Pacers have captured that final ebb and flow in their favor with Game 6. And history shows, at least recently, that is a very hard game to win. If you are up 3-2 in the series, drop Game 6, and going to have to win Game 7. Because the Lakers came down from 3-2 against the Celtics in 2010. The Heat, Ray Allen, we know how that went. Knicks, Rockets, we know how that went. That's a very tricky spot. I think the OKC Thunder have danced with fire for their last time. They want to let teams hang around. Fine. And I give OKC Thunder credit because they beat Denver in a really tricky spot in Game 7, and they killed them earlier in the postseason. And we haven't seen the Pacers in a do-or-die setting yet, but I have a hard time seeing the Pacers shriveling under pressure comparatively to the Thunder, who have now, slipped underneath their own feet in Game 6, didn't put them away, and now the Pacers have every opportunity to close a historic postseason run. If the Pacers are able to do this, this would be more impressive as a totality of a run than anything Cleveland did with LeBron, anything Miami did with LeBron, any of those Warriors titles. You're looking at the 2011 Mavericks title. You're looking at the Indiana Pacers. If they're able to do it, maybe the Pistons of 2004. Those are the 3 teams this century that you got to talk about just how impressive it is, because nobody looked at them in the postseason. Nobody still looks at them in the postseason and says that's the most talented team. They're better than everybody else. Top to bottom talent, they're probably not. Were we even sure they were better than Cleveland in terms of talent? Probably not. But they have more guys. They play team basketball. They have a great coach. And they got a little bit of magic. That is enough in this scope of the NBA, comparatively. I think this would be one of the more impressive NBA champions in the history of the league, just off the context alone. Knicks not having home court, taking them down early, the dramatic come-from-behind victories against the Bucks, the Cavs, the Knicks, and then the Thunder. Game 1 completely changed the series. And the funny part is, whatever team loses this Game 7 on Sunday, whether it's the Thunder or the Pacers, they're each going to have that game that haunts them. They're each going to have that game that, should have had that. OKC, you think of Game 1. Letting the Pacers get back into that game after losing basically the entire way, led the game for 0.3 seconds on the Halliburton game winner. And if the Thunder win, then the Pacers are going to be kicking themselves about Game 4, where they had a 12-point lead in the late third quarter, controlled the game, got out, doubled their point output in the fourth quarter. They're going to be looking at Game 4 thinking, that was ours. Should have had that. Let that slip away. So that's why I think this has a lot of drama attached to it, because each of those teams have had opportunities to close it out. Thunder could have closed it out last night in Game 6, and let's call it I hate the what if, but I'll do it. If the Pacers won Game 4, they could have been hoisting the trophy last night. That is where that gets interesting. I think we're going to see a really good game on Sunday. I think we're going to see a dogfight. Very competitive, very desperate. And I think desperate, like Christian said, I like how you said that. Desperate favors the underdog because they're used to it. Can we see a 68-win team play and act desperate? I'm not so sure.
It didn't last night. There was no sense of urgency whatsoever from Oklahoma City. Every hustle play, the lackadaisical turnovers, not whipping the ball around, passing the ball, like that 4 assists in the starting 5 for the Thunder last night. No urgency whatsoever, so they better have at least a little more on Sunday if they want to win the championship.
Right. So that urgency, it's easier to manufacture from a team that has been doing it the entire postseason. The Thunder, on the other hand, haven't necessarily had to bottle that in. And I'm not going to bring up that Nuggets series because the Nuggets, that was an NBA champion they were playing. The desperation was in OKC's favor because they haven't won one yet. But if I'm thinking about it, that Game 7s are about desperation. Desperation, in a lot of times, favors the underdog. Because it's hard to come up with that scratch and claw mentality when you've won 54 of your 68 regular season games by 10-plus points. And let's flip it for a second. If the Pacers lose this game, we're going to be talking about the Thunder as one of the big what-ifs, big collapses that we've seen at the NBA Finals level. That team didn't win at all. With the accolades and the stats, winning by 10, 15 plus every game, dominating the postseason for the most part, deep, young, draft picks, the reigning MVP on the team.
Dodging the 2 best teams in the East in the finals. No Cavaliers, no Celtics.
Good point. Didn't have to play the Cavs, didn't have to play the Celtics, even the Knicks, who were desperate for a title. Didn't even have to play them. Played the Indiana Pacers. And this is not me. I don't want to rain on say the Pacers shouldn't be there. Because the Pacers were the best team in the Eastern Conference playoffs. Let's call it like we see it. I thought they would have beaten Boston if Boston was there too. But they had every stone turned in their favor to this point. And then finally we see them in a desperation environment. And I'm very curious to see how they handle that. And if you want to argue that down 2-1 Game 4 in Denver was a desperation environment, I'd listen to that. But at the NBA Finals, where the team that finishes the game leading is going to be hoisting the trophy, that favors Indiana. 888-760-3776. Colin Russo, Christian Cat, Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3. I'm live from ESPN Chicago. Christian is live from ESPN West Palm at the City Place Studios. We've got a packed program. We're going to talk to Steve Phillips at 4:40, do a little baseball talk with the Padres and the Dodgers, a little Aaron Judge, the Yankees can't score. They got to win last night. I'm going to be at Wrigley tomorrow for the first time, so thoroughly looking forward to that.
It's a good ball club they've got there in Chicago.
They do. A lot of offense.
On the north side of Chicago.
And I'm staying with buddies who live in Wrigleyville. I love that area. I love that area a bunch. I love this city. I'll do a tangent really quick. Christian, have you been to Chicago?
I have not.
Chicago is outstanding. And it's beautiful. It's 80 degrees. The downtown, it's better than New York when it's nice out. It's better than New York. New York's a better city overall. It's a city of hustlers. But Chicago, in terms of a beauty standpoint, and a vibe and a feel, there's nothing like the Midwest summer. But when you're here in June, you almost forget about the 9 months of penance that they pay outside of the June, July, and August of the entire year. But when it's nice out, this is one of the nicest cities in the country. I love Chicago. I fell in love with it again running along the lake yesterday morning and this morning. Beach volleyball, people on boats, people running around. It's an outdoorsy city because the Midwest people know how to appreciate a nice day. And that's not the case everywhere else in the country. I love Chicago. I can't say enough good things about it. I'm thoroughly looking forward to Wrigley. 888-760-3776. We got David in Jupiter joining us now on Russo and Rizzo. David, what's up?
Yeah, I think for a while the super team concept worked rather well. But meanwhile, you had the small market teams creating very deep teams through drafts and getting whoever they could get to come to their team and getting good coaches. And they put together true teams. And what we're seeing is not a fluke. We're seeing a small market team in OKC, a small market team in Indiana, maybe ushering in a new era of how you build an NBA championship team, while these bigger markets were kind of going for the quick, easy, superstar fix and putting together super teams. And so Indiana and OKC are having this kind of crazy series because they're evenly matched, and they're both true teams that were built and put together the way a basketball team should be built and put together. And who knows what's going to happen in Game 7, but it's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Good call, David. Appreciate you chiming in on Russo and Rizzo. David says that this might usher a new, era of team construction. I'd wager he's right. I'd wager that what we're seeing from Indiana and OKC in terms of roster construction, draft picks, development,
Depth,
9, 10 deep, backup point guards, second units. That was a thing in the past 10 years ago. Nobody was worried about the Miami Heat's second unit because Wade, LeBron, and Bosh were always in the game.
How can we get our big three in X market? That was the blueprint. That was what everyone was trying to replicate. How can we make that happen in, Brooklyn, New York? We've got our big three. We've got a ticket to the conference finals and the NBA finals automatically, right? No.
Right.
Got to have a team.
It was funny because you think about even the Warriors. The Warriors, it was like, all right, well, we need to have one of Durant, Clay, or really Steph or Durant on the floor at one time, at any given time. And they were deep. They were a well-put-together team, but that was still it. It was a super team. You saw it with Boston, though. I think you got to give Boston some credit. Boston might look like a super team. I know it's a big market, but in terms of roster construction, they drafted a lot of those guys, getting on an older Al Horford, trying to get something out of Porzingis. I think they did a good job. Drew Holiday, who was a very underrated player. In terms of construction, yeah, they didn't draft everybody, but I think in terms of putting together a team, I think they did that just wonderfully last year. Now, with some of the other teams, Toronto, would you call that a super team? I think it's really past 5-6 years you started to see this. I think more and more teams are heading in this direction. That's why OKC is probably going to be the blueprint of how teams do it. Stockpiling picks, get a plethora of assets, utilize that and make a couple crucial trades. Alex Caruso, for example. But this new age is better for the NBA because more teams are going to be in it, because they don't necessarily need the top-end star power that's few and far between, like a big three. Instead, if you put a team together with a little bit of nuance, some savviness, you're going to be in a much better position. I think this is better for the NBA. It's better for team sports. And I think OKC and Indiana, teams like that, are here to stay. We're going to take a time out here. And on the flip side, we'll get into a little bit more what to expect at Game 7. We're going to have Steve Phillips on at 4:40. It's Russo and Rizzo taking a time out here on ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
Introducing DQ Grill & Chill's new sauced and tossed buffalo chicken strips. A basket of 100% all-white meat seasoned chicken strips, now being served with blue cheese or ranch dressing dips. The blizzard of the month is the Strawberry Cheesecake Blizzard, a new flavor for the summer, featuring a creamy blend of strawberry cheesecake pieces in vanilla soft serve, dipped in strawberry topping. DQ Grill & Chill with 2 locations, 4828 Lake Worth Road and US 1 just south of North Lake.
Clinton and Friends hits the air weekdays, 10 a.m.
Kevin, what's up?
I'm not going to watch the finals.
Appreciate it. I'm sorry, you're not getting anywhere with that lead sentence. But if you hit me with a I'm not watching the thing you're talking about and just pause and lay out for 10 seconds, you're getting banged. We still got a radio show to do here. Respectfully, let's please get to it. Those of us who are watching, feel free to chime in. I hope you plan to watch the game tonight.
Don't embarrass yourself. Just listen. Clinton and Friends, weekdays at 10 on ESPN 106.3.
Hi, Kevin Dalton here from the Unlimited Auto Wash Clubs. Time to start getting your ride ready for summer. Stop by the Unlimited Auto Wash Clubs and try out one of our best wash packages, the Ultimate Plus. It gives you everything your car needs, inside and out, including our ceramic graphene coating. Or try one of our unlimited monthly plans, starting as low as $34.95 a month, or with inside and out plus tire shine starting as low as $49.95 a month. Visit any one of our 6 convenient locations or call 561-WASH-ME-TOO.
Hi, this is Scott Smith with Smith Ball Baez and Prather, Florida Injury Lawyers. We are a Florida civil trial law firm that specializes in the areas of personal injury and wrongful death. Our offices are located in Palm Beach Gardens, Boca Raton, and Port St. Lucie. Our lawyers have litigated thousands of matters at the Palm Beach, Martin, St. Lucie, and Indian River County courthouses. Our lawyers, paralegals, and other numerous members of our legal team live in Palm Beach County and Treasure Coast cities and towns such as West Palm Beach, Port St. Lucie, Lake Worth, Palm Beach Gardens, Palm City, Jupiter, and others just like you and your families. We are a statewide recognized law firm, but it is your community and your families that we live and associate with on a daily basis. Our most satisfying achievement is when we know that our legal power has helped a fellow member of our Palm Beach County and Treasure Coast community secure a fair and just huge result. If you've been injured, the lawyers at Smith Ball Baez and Prather will help. Call us at 500-HELP, 500-HELP. With Smith Ball Baez and Prather, help is just a local phone call away. Offices Palm Beach Gardens, Boca Raton, and Port St. Lucie.
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
No Mike Rizzo in today. Colin Russo with you with Christian Cat at ESPN 106.3. It's Russo and Rizzo. Streaming live also on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter/X at ESPN West Palm. I'm up in ESPN Chicago in the Midwest. Christian's down at the City Place Studios in downtown West Palm Beach. 888-760-3776. Our first Game 7 in the NBA Finals since 2016 will be taking place on Sunday evening. We got Tyrese Halliburton, who might be a little bit more healthy with a calf injury. After taking Game 6 last night, easy fashion, the Pacers were not challenged throughout. The OKC Thunder dropped a complete dud, and the Pacers took advantage. Now they enter 3-3. Winner of that game takes it all. Game 7, look, we don't get it a lot in the NBA, so I'm thoroughly looking forward to that. But more importantly, if you've been in a car accident, truck accident, suffered a slip and fall, my friends Mark Anajar and Glenn Levine at Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys, they're here to fight for you. They don't charge you unless you win. They work tirelessly to get you the maximum compensation that you deserve. Don't settle for just any attorney. Demand Anajar and Levine today, because that's the Anajar and Levine difference. All it takes, one phone call. Take back control of your life. Don't wait. Call for that free consultation now. That's 1-800-747-FREE. 1-800-747-3733. Take back control now with Anajar and Levine. Now, the thing is, if the Pacers, let's think about perspective here. And a lot goes into how the game is actually played, Game 7, that is, this Sunday. But if the Pacers are able to win this series, I don't think this would be an NBA Finals matchup that can be defined by OKC blowing it, I would more attribute it to the Pacers taking it. I think it's not a collapse, but I do think it's a failure of riches if the OKC Thunder can't pull this out. But Christian, I want to get your thoughts. Is it more about the Thunder or the Pacers if the Pacers steal that game? Is it more about the Thunder kind of letting them back into the series?
It's tough.
Or is it more about the Pacers taking it because they've done it to everybody? Bottom line, bar none.
Yeah, the fact that the Pacers won game one kind of alters your perception of how this series went. But 68-win team winning so many of those games by 14 or more points, it's hard to imagine anything but Thunder falling apart when, again, you didn't face the best the East had to offer in the regular season or the second best the East had to offer. You got a favorable draw in the NBA Finals. It still leans heavier on Thunder falling apart than it is, wow, the Pacers really turned it on these last couple of months, if you ask me. I think you think of voodoo magic with the Pacers and like, wow, somehow, some way, comeback after comeback, game winner after game winner. You'll remember that part of the Pacers, but in terms of fantastic team wins, I think it's more of team losses with the Thunder than team wins with the Pacers.
Is it crazy that they might be an NBA champion and we're still not giving them the complete credit? Isn't that bizarre?
It is weird. You can't fake your way from one win away from the NBA Final championship.
Yeah, you can't win. You can't stumble into 16 wins in a playoff format. You can't do that.
Not in the NBA. I think you can do it in other sports. I've talked about this. Earlier today, we were on Theoretically Speaking asking of the four major American sports, hockey, football, basketball, baseball, which is the quote-unquote easiest championship to win. And I think when you talk about percentage of how many playoff games you have to win in order to win a title compared to your regular season, I think the NBA is the hardest. I honestly do. I think that is the hardest title to win.
Without a doubt. You're completely right. Other than the last 7 years, there was 8 teams that won the championship over the 32-year period prior. The best team in the NBA playoffs wins the NBA championship, what, 85% of the time?
Yeah.
How often does, other than injuries, how often does the top dog in the postseason truly get knocked off? It's not as often as we think. The best team usually wins, and because of that, that makes it harder, and it might be easier for the best team, but it's harder for everybody else.
Right, exactly. There's only one best team. So,
Right.
you just kind of do the deductive math, and you say it is extremely difficult for 31 of those teams.
If you're talking about blank odds of a random team throughout the NBA and their percent chances of winning an NBA title, very slim. Whereas if you want to compare it to different sports,
baseball,
MLB,
you get in the dance, and it's a crapshoot.
You're in, you get an opportunity. You're going to have a chance. There are hundreds of times where the top team in the postseason gets knocked off. That doesn't happen as much in the NBA. Even football, it happens here and there. The Giants pop to mind. The Eagles with Nick Foles. There's opportunities like that. But again, there's a reason that the Patriots won 7 or 6 or whatever it was. Brady won 7. It's because in a lot of ways that was the best team.
Yeah, so all that being told, the fact that we both believe that the NBA championship is the hardest of the major four sports to win, I'm still thinking, wow, there was a whole lot of luck involved, and excelling in these 4 to 5 second increments where it mattered most in all of these series that led them to this spot.
It's really bizarre because the Pacers, like you said, are going to win, if they win, the toughest championship probably in American sports, the toughest, and they're going to do it off of, 4 moments? 5 big moments? Yeah, they won games. They were clutch on the road. But without game 2 against Cleveland, without game 1 against the Knicks, without game 1 against the OKC Thunder, we'll even throw game 5 of the Bucks in there. Those moments, the 20 seconds total of those 5 moments.
There's a little bit of condensation on the hardwood, and Tyrese Halliburton slips a little bit, can't get his shot off in time. Could change, butterfly effect, and this is not even a possibility.
Not even a possibility, which is why it's almost like the poeticness of what we have seen I don't know, if you're an NBA fan or you're a casual NBA fan, you don't have a dog in the fight, I don't know how you're not rooting for Indiana. Unless you're a Knicks fan. I can understand that. If you're a Knicks fan, you don't want the Thunder to win, fine. But you can't think that if you're Cleveland because you lost in 5. You can't think that if you're the Bucks because you lost in 5. I don't know who's not rooting for Indiana in this series. And if you're not rooting for Indiana, if you're against Indiana, let me know why. 888-760-3776, because this is the classic team that people have been begging for in the NBA for the past 20 years.
The American dream.
People have been begging for a team like this year in and year out. Begging. And they finally got one, Christian. They finally got one.
And it's not just winning and being boring, which we'll see with like the big fundamental and the Spurs. Like you can win methodically and doing championship parades, you set your watch to it once every 4 years. Yeah, okay, I guess that they're monotonous in that fact, but the style of play was not nearly as exciting, and the climax of those moments for the Spurs extended dynasty does not reach the levels of the climax of this individual, just singularity, one Pacers postseason run. Tyrese Halliburton has given you 4 individual, unbelievable, stop whatever you're doing, and you're in awe of your television in that moments in this one run for the Pacers, where he's doing it both unexpectedly and with flair.
Right. Because you think about the NBA's categorized, it's a better story with its dynasties, with the Shaq Lakers, the Bulls, the Warriors, these teams that have dominated and have been fun stories to talk about. But if you really remember correctly, a lot of these games haven't been very good. We've been blessed with a series, yes, with a lot of no-name teams plus players in the grand scope of the NBA, but we've seen better basketball games because of it. People want to talk about 2016, how great that series was. I implore you to look at those games, 1 through 6. Look at those games and tell me how great it really was. Game 7 of 2016 was an all-time NBA game. Game 6 of that Miami Spurs series was an all-time great game. Even Game 7. There are not that many great NBA Finals games, and we've already had a couple in this NBA Finals with the Pacers and the Thunder.
Where you couldn't turn the TV off early.
Yeah.
That's an important factor or a bar that you judge my interest in an NBA game. If I can't turn the game off early, then it's a pretty good game. It's a good game to a great game.
You're looking for a reason to turn it off, Christian?
When you start the games at 8:30, yes. Matter of fact, I am.
All right, fair enough. All right, fair enough. Eastern time, yes. Now I'm in Central, so it's a lot nicer. But you're right. But we've seen a number of good games. Game 3 was a good game. Game 4 was a great game. Game 1 was a great game. We've seen good games. We've seen very good games. So because of that, appreciate it. And now we're finally going to get... This has been the magnum opus of what this postseason has been. It has to end this way. Because in my opinion, this would be the perfect storybook ending to that storybook postseason that the Indiana Pacers have had.
And it would be underwhelming for the Thunder. If they win the game, you're kind of like, okay, well, you better have, right?
Yeah,
that's kind of the attitude towards it.
If we're going to scream to the basketball gods, all right, Indiana's made it this far, just finish the job. That's what everybody's thinking. Finish the job. We're already here. Everybody wants to see OKC get knocked off. This would be the ultimate storybook ending. That's what we need. That would capture the magic, the one-sentence summary of what this team is. Was that. Just capturing that magic time and time again, no matter the opponent, no matter the situation. Down 3-2, losing the whole game in Game 1, it doesn't matter. Love Indiana. If you're a sports fan, you should be rooting for Indiana. And I think actually, on bias aside, there's no bias here. I think Indiana's going to win on Sunday. I think they're going to win that Game 7. And I think they're going to win in dramatic fashion. Christian, Cat, Colin, Russo and Rizzo and ESPN 106.3. On the flip side, we will talk to, you see him on MLB Network. He's the former general manager of the New York Mets. You've seen him on SiriusXM Radio. Steve Phillips will be joining us. We've got a lot to talk about, including that Dodgers-Padres feud. We're going to talk about a little Rafael Devers with more information coming out into that trade saga. The New York Yankees, how are they going to bolster that offense? Is the offense enough for Judge? A lot of questions to be answered. Steve Phillips coming up on Russo and Rizzo after this on ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
The weather is heating up and summer is here. Stay cool with EDS Air Conditioning. Right now, qualified customers can take advantage of 0% interest for 60 months on a brand new AC. Hot streaks belong in sports, not in your home. With over 800 Google reviews and a 4.8 star rating, EDS is the name you can trust since 2006. Visit EDSIsYes.com today. Game day comfort starts now. Don't sweat the small stuff.
Business owners, are your employees driving you nuts? Is money tight? Or have you just poured your heart and soul into your business and now it's time to retire and just relax? At Transworld Business Advisors, they have buyers from all over the world ready to buy your business now. Call for a confidential conversation about your business's current value. 561-203-5121. That's 561-203-5121 or visit tworld.com today.
At St. Lucie Battery and Tire, batteries came before tires. We've been selling and servicing all types of batteries for over 50 years. So when you need a battery for nearly anything, we have it, as well as the fast professional installation you need. We carry premium batteries for all your needs: automotive, commercial, marine, RV, and specialty. We also offer delivery and on-site installation, serving our customers quality products for over 50 years in the home of honest, reliable service. Go to slbt.com and book your next appointment.
The Club at Lost Lake, a championship Fazio design golf course in Hope Sound. Golf and social memberships are now available with no waiting list and immediate access. The course and club will see over $10 million in capital improvements and is one of the best private club values in the area. Experience the beauty and challenge of this renowned course for yourself. Enjoy year-round access to exclusive amenities and events. Elevate your game, elevate your experience. Discover the Club at Lost Lake. Visit clublostlake.com to schedule a visit today.
What's the Anajar and Levine difference? If you're the victim of a car crash, you will always speak to a lawyer. You'll always get the highest standard of care from our dedicated legal team, and we'll always fight to get you the maximum compensation you deserve. That's the Anajar and Levine difference. Call our legal team right now for a free consultation. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. Don't wait. Call 1-800-747-FREE.
In office, West Palm Beach.
What would you do with an extra $700? You can earn up to $700 per year with Boost Checking from Flagler Credit Union. Boost Checking pays 7.0 annual percentage yield on balances up to $10,000. That's up to $700 extra to do what you love. Boost Checking from Flagler Credit Union. Requirements apply to earn the highest dividend rates. Limit one checking account per membership. Dividend rates and annual percentage yield subject to change. Business accounts do not qualify. Insured by NCUA, proud partner of Florida Atlantic University Athletics.
Recently, I had the opportunity to sit down with Dr. Berkjan Akbanar, who operates out of Good Samaritan Health Center through the Palm Beach Health Network. And he explains there are a plethora of ways that you could rehab after surgery.
Mixing that treadmill up with stationary bike or elliptical and then some resistance training as well to not exhaust the same set or constellation of muscles. We start all patients with physical therapy and then oral nonsteroidal anti-inflammatory medications if they can tolerate it, and then we kind of escalate it in a stepwise manner to injections, and we have a variety of different viscosupplementation options, including steroid injections, gel injections, and things like PRP if necessary.
That was Dr. Berkjan Akbanar from the Palm Beach Network Physician Group. For a physician referral, call 866-654-2362 or go online to pbhnphysiciangroup.com.
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Well, you get the NBA Finals Game 7 coming up on Sunday. You got the MLB in full swing right now. You got College World Series. Lots to look forward to. The Club FIFA World Cup for those who are into that. And because of that, you can actually have some fun with it and dial in a little bit of cash, a little bit of a sprinkle a little action on it with Hard Rock Bet. Go download the app today in the Google Play Store, the Apple App Store. Go get started on Battle the Bets. How it works, you can turn $1, as little as $1, into a big-time payday. You take one side or the other. You take an over, take an under, take a left side, take a right side. And you do that, and there's a big cash pot, $250,000+ each time. And when you put as little as $1 into it, when you win the bet, if you win the bet, you get your cash earnings coins back, and you get a piece of the pie. So you get a whole lot to look forward to on that front. And you could also check out the Discover page, see what other users are putting together, and see what type of 4-leg parlay they have conjured up. And you could tag along that easy. So if you don't even know what to put in your parlay, go check out what other users do. On Hard Rock Bet, best part is get $100 back in bonus bets if your first bet does not hit. That first bet can be anything. Parlay, prop, over, you name it, they got it. Hard Rock Bet offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida, must be 21 plus and physically present in for the wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Call 1-888-ADMIT-IT. Well, you could hear him on the MLB Network radio. You could hear him on a fixture of different baseball programming. He's the former general manager of the New York Mets. It is Steve Phillips joining us now on Russo and Rizzo. Steve, welcome in. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Good to be with you guys.
So, Steve, I want to start. I saw you talked about it a little earlier in the week. It's a little old news, but I want to talk about it again. Rafael Devers getting shipped out of the Boston Red Sox. You were on the side that you thought Boston made a decent move here because of the financial contribution that they no longer have to provide to Devers. Why don't you expound a little bit on that and your perspective with the Devers trade and getting shipped out of Boston?
Yeah, sure. I think it's actually even relevant today, considering they're playing each other this weekend out in San Francisco, the Red Sox and Giants, and kicking off tonight at 10 o'clock Eastern time. But, I looked at it and thought, Devers was being selfish. He was being a bad teammate. I understand that the communication was bad. I understand he was offended and disrespected. I get all of it. But in the end, he's playing for the other 25 guys in the clubhouse, and he should do what's in the best interest of the team, and he wasn't willing to do it. And I think that within this move, they get out from $260+ million of his contract. Plus, it's addition by subtraction. I think that moving his attitude out, now you have a clubhouse with 26 guys rowing in the same direction, all pulling together, all fighting for the same thing. Plus, it sends a message to the young players breaking into the big leagues. It sends a message to the minor league players about what is appropriate and acceptable relationship within the Red Sox organization. In addition, they got 4 more than serviceable players. I mean, Jordan Hicks is a very serviceable major league pitcher, and he can start, he can relieve. Kyle Harrison has a chance to be a front end of the rotation starter. He's got some big league experience right now. And then James Tipp III was the 13th overall pick in the draft last year, a corner outfielder that can swing the bat. And then Jose Bayo, a young rookie ball pitcher with a really good arm. So, they're not a better major league team necessarily right now because Devers is bad. It's difficult to replace. But I think there's going to be far more harmony there, and they have been scoring enough runs as it is. They're going to get Alex Bregman back into the mix here soon. And I think to get out from underneath that money, that financial flexibility gives them so many different ways they can go, whether trading for a money guy at the deadline, going out in free agency this year and being active and signing somebody that better configures with their roster and the talent that they have coming. So I think in the long run it's the right thing to do. Again, I think they mismanaged it from the start, but you've got to deal with the circumstances that you find yourself in currently, and I think they needed to move on.
Steve, being a former general manager yourself, you said you thought they mismanaged it at certain points. Let's say if you were in that position and you sort of had to mend 100 different relationships in regard to Devers to ownership, Devers to general manager, Devers to Alex Cora, Devers to the fans. I think it's a very tricky situation at this point, 6 weeks out from the deadline. Don't you think they could have waited a little bit longer? I know you want to kind of just buy into the youth movement that the Red Sox are doing, but is the timing peculiar to you in any sense in your eyes?
No, I think that what they found was that most teams in baseball thought that contract was not going to end well. $315 million deal. He's in the second year of the deal. He's a one-dimensional guy that's not a third baseman. He's more of just a DH. He doesn't take the best care of himself in the off season when he comes in. Needs to find a way to get into some shape. So I think that they got to the point where they looked at it, had conversations with teams, and realized we're going to have a really tough time finding somebody willing to take this contract. And the fact that they found somebody willing to take it and give them prospects in return, I think they felt like they can't wait to the deadline, have the Giants solve their problem going in a different direction, and then they don't have a trade partner. So I think timing-wise, you're right, it's odd, but I think it just came down to the Giants could really use a bat. They're competing right now, but they know their vulnerability with the Dodgers and the Padres out there. They can't let this offense, dwindle, so they needed to add the big bat. And remember, for the Giants, the reason they were so interested is they can't get a free agent to take their money. I mean, Aaron Judge said no. Trey Turner said no. Carlos Correa didn't pass the physical. They were in on Xander Bogaerts, and he went to San Diego, and they just couldn't find anybody to take their money for a number of reasons. One, because what I've heard is that players are a little leery of downtown San Francisco right now, and that it's not the most comfortable place to go to every day for work. But I think also the stadium for hitters plays big, and it's a pitcher's ballpark. And so, hitters always find another place to go if they're getting the same kind of money. And so they had to trade for a bat and to bring that in, and they were willing to take some risk and know that maybe they're overpaying a bit, but they have to do it because they can't get anybody else to take their money. And I think the most amazing part of all of this is how did Devers' agent not have a no-trade clause? You got a $300 million contract. You're a star player on the team, the best player on the team is a hitter, and you didn't get a no-trade clause? Now, he might have still said yes, but he could have gotten something for it, of saying yes to San Francisco, and maybe it would have just been peace of mind. But the fact that and the Giants looked at it, think we're going to get a guy that we can acquire for 8 years, and we don't have to get over the hurdle of a no-trade clause. So there were a lot of different factors that were going into it. But I think for the Giants, they needed to get a bat. Now they've got to manage. Right now he says he's willing to play anywhere there, which is interesting. We interviewed Buster Posey today on MLB Now on MLB Network TV, and asked him, I'm just curious what kind of sense of humor you have, and are you going to start him at first base tonight against the Red Sox? Right? That how funny would it be if he said no to the Red Sox, the next he's starting at first base. Now, he said he's going to leave it up to Bob Melvin, that he didn't expect that he would be at first base, here in the next couple days, but they wanted to do some more work. But it certainly would have been kind of thumbing your nose at the Red Sox if they were able to get him to do that.
Host on MLB Network, host on SiriusXM Radio, Steve Phillips, the former Mets general manager, joining us now on Russo and Rizzo. Steve, the one thing I want to add to this, I know you got to operate in the interest of the team. You got to operate in the interest of putting out the best ball club, long-term solutions, saving money if you can. But you got to think about the fans here too. They just swept the Yankees. They were 8-2 at that point in their last 10. They've started to play a little better. Bregman's on the horizon. There was positives to take away from what the Red Sox are doing. And yes, the package, they might get something out of it, but the problem is there's still question marks in regard to some of the guys that they got back in return for Devers. And do you think about the fans in these situations as a former general manager yourself in terms of not like the uproar, they're still going to show up to the games, but this is another situation where the Red Sox, all right, we're going to take 3 steps back because we think 10 steps down the road this is going to help us. That's been the Red Sox mantra for the better part of 10, 15 years? It's been their history. Don't you think that adds a little bit of fuel to the fire from the fans' front?
I do think that not having signed Mookie Betts and trading him, and then losing Bogaerts to free agency, and then now trading Devers, there is a compounding effect on all of that. I do agree with you. Although I will tell you that Red Sox fans were very frustrated and disappointed in Devers from every indication that I've gotten. That especially the thing that put them over the top was when it was stated that when Christian Campbell, the rookie infielder, suggested, I'll take some ground balls at first base. I'll go over there and play if you want me to. Devers got mad at him, called him out on it, and said, why are you, it felt like the kid was trying to show him up by his willingness to do the right thing for the team. And they took him up on it. They had Campbell go out, take ground balls at first base, and try to get ready to play it. And that when Devers sort of turned on Campbell, at that point, they thought, all right, enough's enough with this. And I think they understood more about this, certainly than they did about Mookie Betts, certainly than they did about losing Bogaerts. Although the Bogaerts moves probably was the right thing to not sign him, considering how he's deteriorated some in San Diego. So, but they now need to spend that money. They had an offseason that was an all-in, go-for-it offseason. They have Giolito there. They signed Walker Buehler. They trade for Crochet. I mean, those were win-now moves. The Devers trade sort of, flies in the face of it, but they've got an explanation for it, and their belief is that addition by subtraction, that they will be better with the absence of Devers in their clubhouse.
Steve, I want to talk about the two-team segue really quick into the two teams in New York. Let's start with the Mets really quick. Having a substantially outstanding season, for lack of a better term, especially with the pitching front of things. Do you anticipate them to be additional buyers as we, I guess, a month away out from the deadline here? Do you anticipate them to trust that pitching staff into the postseason? What's your perspective on the Mets so far this year?
Yeah, no, I think the Mets have to add more pitching. They were doing okay. I mean, listen, they're leading baseball in pitching,
right?
But they need pitching. Saul Manaea and Frankie Montas are on the injured list. Now Kodai Senga on the injured list with a hamstring injury. Tyler McGill on the injured list with shoulder sprain. And so they've got 4 starters now on the IL, and they're trying to piece it together. They've got Blade Tidwell called up today for his second start ever. Paul Blackburn started yesterday, got knocked around by the Braves. So the pitching for the Mets is really compromised right now, and it couldn't happen at a worse time. Just played the Braves. They got beat up by the Braves. Now they're going to play the Phillies this weekend. Zach Wheeler on the mound against Tidwell tonight, and so, the advantage to Philadelphia. So the Mets are going to have to get out there and get some pitching. I think on the other side for the Yankees, they're going to get more pitching, but I think they also need to consider some offense.
Right.
Whether that's at third base or second base, when you can move Chisholm around. But I think they need to upgrade on the Cabrera-LeMahieu coupling and what they're doing with playing time there, or Reyes, and how they're piecing those guys together. So, and I think the Yankees have a problem with the Stanton return. What does it mean for Ben Rice, who's been DHing as a left-handed bat, get balanced in the lineup and productive? And does it mean you sit Goldschmidt, and who's been swinging the bat well, or Austin Wells catching? So, they've got some other things to work out personnel-wise, because they at some point have square pegs they're trying to pound into round holes, and they don't always fit. And it's going to be interesting to see how Aaron Boone keeps everybody hungry and everybody sharp.
Well, one thing to add on to that, too, is I got to think a little macro when it comes to the Yankees, because of just the scale of how good Judge has been for the better part of 4 or 5 years now. The scale it's historical. So because of that, I have to think that the Yankees here, they have to be aggressive, number one. But number two, part of me thinks that are we going to talk about this Yankees era as them failing what was and what is one of the best primes that we've seen in baseball history? Is that going to be the takeaway if they don't start to figure this out and put together a more well-rounded team year in and year out?
Yeah, you think about, is he going to be Mike Trout, right? Where, he had that run of success. He was great winning MVPs, but they had one playoff appearance. So the Yankees are going to make the playoffs. Once you get there, it becomes difficult to win. I mean, there are a lot of good teams out there, and Yankee fans get, in my mind, arrogant in that it's a failed season if we don't win the World Series. Well, there are other good teams that are playing. You're not the only one, and once you get to the playoffs, it's much more difficult to win now because of the additional rounds that we put in the playoffs, and then the layoff that the teams that have the best record get has seemingly made them get a little bit rusty, where the other teams are playing playoff baseball with sharp teeth and the energy for it. And then, the teams that are sitting around, it takes them half a game or a game to get going, and they've ended up losing some series. So I think that the Yankees, Brian Cashman always seems to put them in a position to compete. They are a perennial playoff team. One of these years it'll be their year again. But, the Dodgers were a great team last year and a better team last year. And the Yankees right now, with the Tigers playing so well, the Yankees, I think could be considered the first or second best team in the American League as it stands right now. But, they've got to keep adding to it, and Brian Cashman will do it. But I do think they have a chance to represent the American League in the World Series.
Yeah, I would agree. There's a high chance of that. It's just because it's the Yankees. They're going to win their 90-plus games. They're going to be pretty good on the AL side in the postseason. Maybe finally that they've broken through and gotten back to a World Series is going to maybe, favor. They just got to get hot for 5-6 games. But I start to worry about now. There's glaring holes offensively with the Yankees, and I don't think there's any doubt about it. I thought they made good moves, getting Fried, using the Soto money that they would have spent on Fried, Goldschmidt. These are all good moves, but we're still thinking about the Yankees at this point, thinking that this is a flawed team and this team still has issues, because if Aaron Judge does not put together a superhuman performance, this team becomes a whole lot more human. I guess that's just my worry with the Yankees, Steve.
Yeah, I think that when I was on MLB Network this week, we ran a graphic that when Aaron Judge doesn't get a hit in a game, the Yankees have a 340-something winning percentage. When he gets one hit, it's like a 580 winning percentage. And when he gets two hits, it's like a 680 winning percentage. And so they go as he goes. And he hasn't gone in the playoffs. Like, he's not been a great playoff performer so far. Now, I'll take the guy who keeps getting me there, and sooner or later he'll figure it out once he is there. But they need more than him. And I think, last year they had Soto. They don't have that other guy right now. And Bellinger's heating up a little bit. Goldschmidt and Grisham homered yesterday. But they don't really have that other player that is as consistent as Judge is. And I honestly don't know why he doesn't get the Bonds treatment. I would throw him a strike if my life depended on it. I would throw around him all the time and pitch around him. I wouldn't throw him anything over the plate. But teams still choose to do so.
Yeah, it's bizarre. Judge is, plain and simple, he's unpitchable. It's ridiculous how well he has played this year. He is an unbelievable hitter. And it's so bizarre, too, because you mentioned he hasn't been great in the postseason. The discrepancy, it's just unbelievable. October versus how he is in May, it's almost like two different players. But you're right. Eventually, the guy who's going to get you there, you got to trust that a Hall of Famer like Judge will end up figuring it out. But, Steve, we appreciate you giving us a little bit of a rundown on the little bit of Mets, Yankees, the Devers trade. Looking forward to speaking again soon. All right, keep it up.
You got it, guys. My pleasure. Happy to do it. Have a good weekend.
All righty. Take care. That's Steve Phillips, of course, the former general manager of the New York Mets. You can hear him on MLB Network and the MLB Network Radio on Sirius XM. We'll do a little 5 at 5, jump around a little bit. It's Russo and Rizzo entering second hour right after this on ESPN 106.3.
Introducing DQ Grill & Chill's new sauced and tossed buffalo chicken strips. A basket of 100% all-white meat seasoned chicken strips, now being served with blue cheese or ranch dressing dips. The blizzard of the month is the Strawberry Cheesecake Blizzard, a new flavor for the summer, featuring a creamy blend of strawberry cheesecake pieces in vanilla soft serve, dipped in strawberry topping. DQ Grill & Chill with 2 locations, 4828 Lake Worth Road and US 1 just south of North Lake.
This is ESPN 106.3, a Good Karma Brands radio station.
Find official rules for all your favorite ESPN West Palm contests by visiting ESPNWestPalmContests.com. That's ESPNWestPalmContests.com. You're listening to ESPN 106.3, the ESPN app, and streaming on your smart speaker.
Tired of being sidelined by a sports injury? Get back in the game with Baptist Health Orthopedic Care. Whether you're a professional athlete or even a weekend warrior, you can get back to doing what you love with our compassionate orthopedic team. Experience a new level of care and get back to your best. Welcome to being treated like a pro. Make an appointment today at baptisthealth.net/ortho or call 833-556-6764.
Mike Rizzo here with the Sports Business Minute presented by the FAU MBA in Sport Management Program. Rafael Devers, the third baseman for the Boston Red Sox, has been a topic of conversation for a while now. After refusing to move positions with Alex Bregman was added to the team, Devers now is on the move. And apparently this time around, at least according to ESPN's Buster Olney, reporting that the Red Sox were going to move on from Devers after he didn't respond to the owner, the man who is paying him a 10-year, $313.5 million contract. So the saga of Devers in Boston ends with Rafael Devers being traded to the San Francisco Giants. This is the Sports Business Minute presented by the FAU MBA in Sport Management Program. Accelerate your career in sports with the program committed to developing top-notch executives and managers with a focus on the job placement for students and graduates. The FAU MBA in Sport Management Program.
Don't let the rising temperatures catch you off guard. Hey, it's Colin Russo, and since 1960, John C. Cassidy Air Conditioning and Plumbing has proudly served Palm Beach County, keeping homes cool and comfortable. Now's the time to upgrade your AC with great financing options. Plus, ask about the Cassidy Care Club, providing year-round peace of mind. Cassidy is part of our local community and supports organizations like the YMCA and the Palm Beach Gardens Youth Athletic Association. Keep cool with Cassidy Air Conditioning and Plumbing. Find out more at CassidyAC.com.
Anajar and Levine.
Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
ESPN 1063.
WESP Jupiter, a Good Karma Brands radio station.
When your team's best players have all been traded and the latest pick is overrated, just raise a glass with a friend or two and tell them more, tell them more, tell them more do. May your team be great and your picks be true, and if it falls apart, you'll know what to do. Just raise a glass with a fan or two and tell them more, tell them more, tell them more do. It's a crazy world, so what do? You tell them more, tell them more, tell them more do. Hey!
Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey, imported by William Grant & Sons, Inc.
Did you miss Theoretically Speaking?
You think Stephon Diggs will be a Pro Bowler?
This year? No. I mean, there's just too many good receivers in the league for him to be a Pro Bowler. Will he be the number one target getter for Drake May? Will he be a 1,000-yard receiver, maybe a 10-touchdown receiver? Yeah, sure. If May is the guy that we believe him to be, if he has a jump in his second year, not a sophomore slump, he'll be beneficial for the Patriots. Great for the Texans last year until he tore his ACL. Diggs is going to be good. He's looked good at camp as well.
It's Theoretically Speaking, weekdays at 2, here on ESPN 1063.
ESPN 1063 is your home for live sports presented by Hard Rock Bet, home of Inter Miami, Miami Heat, and the Miami Dolphins. Catch all the action and the biggest matchups throughout the week right here on ESPN 1063. Hard Rock Bet, it's Florida's official sports book. Try Hard Rock Bet now and receive up to $100 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. It's offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida, must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida. Wager terms and conditions apply. Considered by gambling. Call 1-888-ADMITTED.
It's Theo Dorsey, and I'm feeling hot, hot, hot. Temperatures are up, but your water shouldn't be full of mystery floaties. Culligan's got your back with water testing and reverse osmosis systems to keep things clean, cool, and crisp this summer. And get this, you can try it for just $10 a month. Stay cool, stay hydrated, and stop drinking who knows what. Visit Culligan.com today to schedule your free water test.
Hey, Culligan man!
Now, it's time for a little R&R.
Ball into the bucket, lays it up and in.
Ball game, Rizzo! Live in the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios, this is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 1063.
This team is going to be tough when they finally get it together.
Sit back and relax. Let Russo and Rizzo take you home.
Oh, mercy! Light him up, Colin!
Well, if you're like me and you're very conscious of how cold you are, how hot it is outside, you're always keeping track of just how humid it is, especially in South Florida of all places. At this time of year, June the 20th, longest day of the year, it's only going to get a little bit more toasty in South Florida. Because of that, you got to make sure your AC units are up to date, up to speed, and more importantly, not going to break down on you in the heat of the summer, which is why you got to go to John C. Cassidy Air Conditioning and Plumbing, who've been proudly serving Palm Beach County since 1960. They keep your home cool and comfortable. And if you don't even know if your AC unit needs a fix, needs an update, needs an upgrade, you could have one of their highly trained technicians. They'll come to your home, they'll troubleshoot, perform diagnostic checks on your system, and guess what? Doesn't even matter the brand or the age. So they'll just do it for the love of the game, essentially. But they also got Cassidy Care Club, so if you get it checked out frequently, fun fact, here's a stat, 90% of system breakdowns on HVAC units and AC units could have been prevented had they been regularly checked and troubleshooted. So you could prevent a terrible situation when you're sitting for a week in the heat of the summer in 95 degrees without some AC units. So go to go to CassidyAC.com. That's CassidyAC.com for more information. That's John C. Cassidy Air Conditioning and Plumbing, the locally served and produced option. It's Colin Russo and Christian Catt. It's Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 1063, where I'm live from ESPN Chicago, ESPN 1000 in downtown Chicago on a lovely Friday on 80 degrees in Chicago. Midwest, can't beat it. Christian Catt is back at the City Play Studios in downtown West Palm Beach. Second hour, Russo and Rizzo. If you missed any of the hour, the first hour, and you want to listen to Steve Phillips, we just had on the former general manager of the New York Mets. Go to listen to Russo and Rizzo on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, all those great places, or go watch back on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter/X, where we stream live. 888-760-3776, the number to get into the program. That's 888-760-3776. Joe in Chicago. Speaking of Chicago, welcome into the program. Joe, what do you got for us?
Hey there, Colin. Thanks for having me. I appreciate the kind words on Chicago. Could not agree more. I do think it is the best city in the world in the summertime.
I mean, you've got the lake, you've got Wrigley Field, in my opinion, the number one sports venue in the world. Speaking of Wrigley Field, the Cubs, very exciting team this year. The offense has been on fire, but an issue we're running into a lot, as we saw yesterday against the Brewers, our pitching just can't keep up. I mean, losing 9-8 can't happen. It's been happening a lot recently. Do you see a way for the Cubs to go from a very good team to an elite team this season? And if so, what is that?
All right, Joe, a couple things here. Number one, I'm going to Wrigley Field tomorrow, so I'm very much looking forward to that. You said a storied sports venue. Everybody says great things about it. The one thing is, it's quite expensive to get into the building. I know it's a Saturday game, but so I'm looking forward to that. Number two, the actual Cubs, yeah, they're an offense-carried team that doesn't necessarily always translate in the postseason. You're going to need pitching, so expect them to be buyers at the deadline. Hopefully they can get a couple more arms in the mix. Now, Joe, let me ask you this. Are you from Chicago, born and raised?
Yes, sir. Born and raised on the north side.
And the 9 month, the way I always view it, I went to school in Wisconsin, so I get it. But the 9 months penance that Midwesterners often face with the spring, the cold spring, cold fall, and the brutal winter, that makes it, does the 3 months, the great months of the summer, the 3-4 months, does that make it worth it? The 8-9 months penance of the winter in Midwesterners, for the Midwesterners, I should say?
Oh, without a question. I mean, you look at the other great cities. New York gets cold. L.A. gets way too hot in the summertime. Same with Miami. I mean, every city has a season where it's uncomfortable. Chicago gets a little cold. We deal with it. And the summers, I mean, you'd think you're in Ibiza. I mean, you really can't tell the difference.
Ibiza in Chicago. Appreciate the call, Joe. Appreciate you chiming in. Yeah, I walked around. I'm like, am I in Ibiza right now?
Yeah.
Is this Ibiza?
You heard the steel drum in the background? Yeah.
Right. That's what they have right here in downtown Chicago. Beach clubs. Appreciate the call, Joe. Christian Cat, our producer behind the glass down in West Palm. Let's bounce around a little bit. Let's do a little 5 at 5 presented by Flagler Credit Union.
5 topics.
High five.
5 o'clock.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Let's get out of here.
Endless takes.
You can't handle the truth.
All gas, no brakes.
And it's shaking Big Ten.
It's time for the 5 at 5.
Hold on to your butts.
Presented by Flagler Credit Union, proud supporter of FAU athletics. Earn up to $700 per year with boost checking from Flagler Credit Union. Number 1.
One of the hottest perceived targets in this year's Major League Baseball trade deadline is reigning NL Cy Young Award winner Chris Sale from the 34-39 middling Atlanta Braves. If you notice I said the word perceived targets, that's because on Wednesday, the Braves GM, President of Baseball Operations, Alex Anthopoulos, told 680 The Fan, he said the speculation that Sale might be traded at the deadline is, quote, ridiculous. He said they will not be selling, especially someone who has club control beyond this year. Colin, is it a mistake to not even consider getting a king's ransom for the reigning NL Cy Young Award winner Chris Sale?
I wonder what type of ransom he would warrant at his age. A buying team would be a contending team that wants to operate in the short term. So because of that, I mean, you got to shave out the NL. You're not sending into an NL contending team. So now we're looking at the AL. So what are you going to send him to the Yankees? Chris Sale to the Yankees? What are you going to send him to Detroit? So that's where it gets tricky because you don't want to send him to anyone in your division. You don't want to send him to the Dodgers. God forbid he goes to the Dodgers. You don't want to send him anywhere in the NL. So because of that, you got a select number of teams that I think would offer a good package for him. Do they listen to calls? I mean, I probably would, but that's a team that could always surprise people with a good second half. I doesn't surprise me that they're betting on themselves here. Let's move on. Number 2.
Number 2.
Well, the details are out. The Florida Panthers, after winning their second consecutive Stanley Cup final, they've set the time, they've set the date, and they've set the location of their Stanley Cup parade. It'll be on Sunday, starting at noon, concluding at 1:30 with the stage ceremony. It's on Fort Lauderdale Beach on A1A, going from Rearmar Street to 5th Street. Colin, have you ever been to a championship parade in any sport, league, or whatever?
I have never been to one, and I'm not going to be able to go to the Florida Panthers one. Christian, are you going to go to the Florida Panthers?
I am not going to be able to make it.
You're not going to go? Are you doing something alternatively? Do you have plans or what?
I have plans to watch the Travelers Championship and then play golf myself that day that I have not planned yet. I don't I'm not a parade guy. I'll be honest.
Okay, yeah, you could have just left.
I don't like parades.
Right when you said I haven't scheduled it yet, I'm like, all right. So this is not like you were tied up. This is you were trying to get tied up.
Are you? Would you go to a parade?
I would go if I was available. I would go. I think you got to try it. I don't know if I'd like it. There's no guarantee that I would like it, but the fact that I've never been to one, I feel like I got to try it, right?
Well, like, when's the last parade? Like, I don't even like, in the comfort of my own home, watching the Thanksgiving parade, and nothing else is on TV at the same time.
Now, here's the thing. I don't think maybe this is a cold take. I'm pretty sure everybody's on the same boat with this. I don't think parades are about actually what you're like watching the people that are being celebrated or the things that are being celebrated. I think the parade is about the ambiance with everybody else around you. If you're going to go to the parade in Fort Lauderdale, you're going to hang out, you're going to go to a couple bars, you're going to move around a little bit, you're going to be with like friends, family, whatever it is. I think it's more about that because what are you going to wait around for the 8 seconds that the bus drives by with the Florida Panthers players, and then what? Then you're just waiting there. I think it's more about the alternative activities that come with a big, hectic parade like the Florida Panthers are going to have. That, I think, is more of a sell than actually watching something like whatever the Panthers are going to do, what the blockade that they're going to set up. I think that it is more interesting, the other stuff.
Yeah, and you also, I feel like it's always the second year in a row where I'm a little bit of the luster off because it's not like this is a tortured fan base, which they have been for many, many years before 2 years ago and before even 3 years ago with the President's Cup. Before the last 5 years, the Florida Panthers have been just a non-existent in the NHL sphere. So if you are a diehard Florida Panthers fan since the existence of their franchise, yeah, you're going to party pretty hard when they raise Lord Stanley. But even for you, the second time around, it's a little less shocking because we all kind of anticipated this after Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals where it looked like one team was clearly superior of the other. I'm just not a fan of drinking on the street, I'll be honest. Drinking outside in the heat on the street. Give me some AC and a TV in front of me. That's where I like to drink.
I think the heat can be made an argument because of locationally where we are in South Florida. You're right. That is going to be a major problem. But the other thing I would add is since it's the second time around, I'm curious to see the difference in parade. You're right. Maybe there's a little less shock factor. And maybe just people take that as an opportunity to go celebrate, have a good time on a Sunday in South Florida where no other teams are going to win, no other teams are going to be in it. But we got our Florida team. It's in the heat of the Floridians need something to celebrate. There it is. It's right in front of you. So I think that's going to be more of a party than it is they're going to celebrate the team, of course, but it's going to be more of a party.
And also the spontaneity of the celebrating at Elbow Room in Lauderdale, it almost kind of robs you of that moment. It's not like we were able to hang out with Jason Kelce and the Eagles before their Super Bowl and see them in that moment before their Super Bowl parade when the Eagles won in 2017. That's when you saw everyone plastered on stage. The streets were lined with Eagles fans. No, we saw the Panthers getting crazy the night of the Stanley Cup Final. Like, we had interns here. Intern AJ went and saw Barkov with the cup at like 5 a.m. in Fort Lauderdale outside of Elbow Room. So then it's like, okay, now there's like 4 days in between, and then we'll party again. The spontaneity of the night of kind of supersedes the planned party, no?
Yeah, you think it's lost some of its splash factor? These guys should go into hiding for the 5 days leading up and come out like the groundhog on Groundhog's Day or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. I understand the point. It's just going to be a big party. That's what Fort Lauderdale does not need much of an excuse to party. That's what the parade is going to be. Do I need it? Probably not, but I probably would have went and enjoyed myself if I was available. I'll be out of town.
Number 3.
Let's go to the NBA, where things will heat up here in South Florida, not only because people will be day drinking at noon on Sunday for the Florida Panthers parade, but, well, free agency and trade talks in the NBA are heating up for our Miami Heat, where allegedly Kevin Durant to the Miami Heat is getting close to the quote-unquote finish line. And the name being kicked around that might be the sticking point is Khalil Ware of the Miami Heat. Whether or not Pat Riley is willing to let go of one of his more valuable younger trading piece in order to get Kevin Durant in South Beach. Well, we know one person is actually sold on Miami being the best destination for Kevin Durant. That's Markieff Morris.
I would like him to be playing South Beach, man. I think it sets up perfectly to be on a team with guys like Bam Adebayo that does it all, right? The culture of winning in Miami. You have another elite scorer in Tyler Hero, but he could step right in and be the ultimate scorer that he has been, right? And there's no shots at other coaches. For the little bit of time that I played in Miami, that was the best brand of basketball that I've been a part of. Spo does a great job of getting the best out of guys, and I think that's the perfect spot for him, man. The East is wide open, and, you know, he can flourish there.
He can flourish there, says Morris about Kevin Durant with the Miami Heat. If you were Kevin Durant, is Miami the best place for him to go this offseason, pending trade?
You know, what's weird is when it's being floated that he likes, you know, the Spurs and the Rockets and the Heat. Yes, a lot of it has to do with the team. I think a lot of it has to do with the coaches, too. He has familiarity with Spoelstra. Spoelstra does a lot with Team USA basketball. Kevin Durant is Mr. Team USA basketball. He's an easy plug-and-play. San Antonio, I know there's no Popovich, but that's a Popovich-bred team. I think from that, I think he wants to go somewhere where he knows he'll be coached right. I think the idea that he was at Phoenix and it was a colossal failure, even the Nets, where they couldn't figure out coaches, and Steve Nash, there was a disconnect, and then you get to Vogel, Budenholzer, Monty, like, it was a big mess. So from that, I think he wants to find some stability on the coaching side, and if you're a basketball fan, what better spot than South Beach and playing for Spoelstra, who is a top 2, top 3 coach in basketball easy? Makes a lot of sense for both sides. Now it's a matter of if they don't have to give up a ton of capital and gut the team in favor of getting Durant. That's the real question. Number 4.
We'll stay in the NBA because you heard it. We are going to a Game 7 in the NBA Finals. Due in part to Tyrese Halliburton. Specifically, his stat sheet doesn't look too glamorous. You have 14 points, 1 rebound, 5 assists. But honestly, if you went into that game not knowing about Tyrese Halliburton's calf injury, you almost wouldn't have known that he was less than 100%. Am I crazy in thinking that Tyrese Halliburton was the reason the Panthers rolled last night?
I think he's a part of it. I think that their role players, and Siakam especially, have just been so good at capitalizing on a moment when they need them. And think of McConnell for a second. He had 4 steals last night, 6 assists. You know, he's the ultimate 15-minute-a-game guy. Do I think Halliburton was the difference maker? No. But do I think they're much better with him on the court? Absolutely. Not a question about it. He is a perfect complement to what McConnell offers and Nemhard and the other guards on the team. But it's a risky injury, a calf. It seems healthy. He's going to have 2 days off. You got to imagine he's going to be able to put together 48 minutes. He's going to have to play more than 23, whatever he played last night, 23, 25. He'll have to give you 30 minutes if need be on a Game 7 environment, so he's got to be ready. But this is a team that is death by 1,000 cuts. They got a lot of guys who could beat you. But at the end of the game, if it's close, who are the Pacers going to go to? Take one guess. It's Halliburton. So if the true storybook finish would be to have Halliburton bury OKC once and for all, he's their clutch gene player, but they do not need him for 48 minutes to put together an all-star performance for them to win the game. That's the best part about the Pacers.
What did you think about that sequence at the end of the first half? The steal from Halliburton, walking the tightrope on the sideline, the no-look pass, and a dunk from Siakam. I contend that the steal/no-look pass was equally as impressive as the posterizing dunk from Siakam.
Absolutely. Awesome play. You know what? My biggest notice from that play was Mike Breen's call. Mike Breen did not have a good call for that play. That is an otherworldly play.
Let's take a listen to what it sounded like what Colin's talking about.
Jalen Williams, 16 points, throws it away. Halliburton comes up with it. Cross court, Siakam for the slam.
That's what we got.
Mike, a little bit more oomph. That was the play of the series. Outside of that game winner, come on, a little. I don't know. I thought a little bit more juice would have been nice, in my opinion. But we didn't get that. What are you gonna do? But in terms of that play, that was as cool as it gets. But the thing is, Halliburton, he's the ultimate playmaker. That's what he is. He is a true point guard at heart, and he's trying to be floated amongst the all-time greats in the NBA that are scorers at heart. He is a playmaker at heart. So because of that, they're going to need him. They're not going to need him to take over the game for the entire game. Don't get that twisted. They're not going to need 40 points from him. They need him to show up at the end of the game, and they need him to play consistent throughout the game. Number 5.
Number 5.
Let's go to Major League Baseball, where it was a little bit contentious last night on the West Coast. Padres, Dodgers, baseball's kind of flourishing rivalry at the moment. Clinton Yates said earlier today that it's the best rivalry in sports right now. Dodgers, Padres. Fernando Tatis got hit for the 3rd time, this time on his hand. The 3rd time from a Dodgers pitcher in 9 games. The Padres responded to Fernando Tatis getting hit with anger. Benches cleared, no punches were thrown, but Dave Roberts, and the Padres manager were very unhappy with one another. Bullpen cleared, and then in the bottom half of the 9th inning, where Tatis got hit, Shohei Ohtani got hit on the thigh and then waved off his dugout from not clearing their dugout again. What was your opinion on the fireworks from last night's Dodgers-Padres near fracas?
Is there not a more overrated aspect of baseball than these fake tough guy brawls that baseball dugouts do when they clear the bases and they meet at home plate and they're trying to, get in each other's face? Nobody's really fighting. It's stupid. They're trying to prove a point there. It's all about the respect. Take a note of what Ohtani did. Ohtani gets clipped, and he immediately waves the guys off. He goes, hey, it's not a big deal. Because it's not a big deal. If he got drilled in the face, we'd be having another conversation. Yes, it's annoying to get hit by a pitch, but what are you going to continue adding to the feud? Ohtani is a true professional. I mean, if there's nobody better that could, represent baseball than Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge, because they don't indulge in stuff like that. You don't need that type of flair to make baseball interesting. But, not going to lie, Padres, Dodgers is a little fiery. That adds to the game. They don't need it, but it adds to the game.
Is it fair game for the Padres to hit Ohtani in the bottom half of the inning?
I mean, that makes them. See, the thing is, Ohtani was the better man there, the bigger man, and it made the Padres look bad. Because now it looks the Padres as reactionary, and Ohtani, who is by far the best player on the field and probably the best player in the league outside of Judge, is the one playing the bigger man, not trying to, a big guy anybody. Because of that, I think that they look poor because of how Ohtani reacted. What if Ohtani He cleared the dugouts and they went and got into a brawl in the middle of the field? Then all of a sudden the Padres don't look that bad because the Dodgers were an easy fuse to spark. Because of the fact that they weren't, I think it shows you a lot about Ohtani's character and him as a leader amongst that team.
Yeah, I am sick and tired of the bullpens clearing.
Oh, my God.
The bullpens are worse than the dugouts because the bullpen's got to walk a country mile.
Yeah, you don't need to run the 200 yards to the middle of the field just to yell at the opposing bullpen guy who has no idea what's going on and what they're yelling about. They're just there to be bodies at the front lines. It's such a waste of time.
It's the stupidest thing in the world. It is
such a waste of
time. Because if you're in the bullpen, you were not a part of whatever happened that caused the dugouts to release. You weren't in the game yet.
They don't even know what's going on. We're running? Why are we running?
That's true. They can't hear what was said.
Who are we going after? Who's yelling at who?
I couldn't even see. Did he get hit by a pitch? I couldn't see from here.
Right. They have no idea what they're talking about. They have no idea what they're getting angry about. Oh, what a waste of time. Completely agree. Complete waste of time. And they don't need to do it every 5 seconds. Nobody's going to punch anybody. Please.
Because who was it? I forget who you would know as an A's fan. Who was it that Ramon Laureano picked a fight with the entire dugout of the opposing team?
Yeah, that's right.
There was a bench coach who was jawing at Laureano.
I don't know the bench coach's name. Yes, it was like a Don Zimmer situation. But yeah, Laureano, who's roided up, I believe, at the time, and was saw red.
Short fuse.
Yeah, saw red, and he completely lost his mind. I hate when that happens. I hate when that happens because usually it's about nothing. If it's a big rivalry and it's been feuding up over a period of time, you could make that argument about Dodgers Padres. We can have a conversation. Red Sox Yankees, that makes sense with Pedro. That makes sense.
Yeah,
but when it's these two random teams, clearing dugouts so they can fight, that's a waste of time. I completely agree.
Astros hitting coach Alex Cintrone said something that Laureano said was remarks. Laureano was upset by what he perceived as offensive remarks made by Cintrone about his mother. Hell
wow.
Yeah. Okay.
Wow. What are you saying that from the dugout? Everybody can hear you. That's the thing. Like, it's not just Laurie. You're not whispering it to him. Very bizarre.
Yeah, because the hitting coach, if you're a hitting coach, you never have to step in the box and never face retribution of what you said, right? You never have to face the music. And then once Cintrone triggered Laureano enough for him to charge at the dugout, one man versus an entire team, Cintrone, the hitting coach, who was jawing at Laureano, just phased into the back, into the bush, like Homer Simpson, and got behind a bunch of bodies. Baseball beefs are 99% of the time nothing burgers and loser activity.
And it's about nothing, too. With a wild pitch, and they misconstrue it with a deliberate attempt to try to, kill the batter. Oh, please.
And then you get warnings on both sides, and then there's a curveball that kind of clips an ankle, and then he gets automatically tossed. Or you just can't pitch inside anymore. I guess that's off limits.
Oh, God, nothing's more overblown than fake baseball beef. Not in these days. Come on, guys, let's go. Unless it's Jose Bautista and Odor, and he's going to throw a punch in the first 3 seconds, that's one thing. But if you're just going to clear the dugouts for the sake of clearing the dugouts, please, I could have without it. Good for Ohtani. Keep everybody honest. Good for that. Good for Ohtani. Shows you his character. That was our 5 and 5 presented by Flagler Credit Union, of course. I'm in Chicago, and because of that, I'm thinking about, this is a mecca right now. Cars, trains, bikes, everybody outdoorsy. Got me thinking. If you've been in a car accident, truck accident, suffered a slip and fall, had a bike accident, that was me a couple weeks ago. My friends Mark Anajar and Glenn Levine at Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys are the type to fight for you. They don't even charge you unless you win, and they work tirelessly to get you the maximum compensation that you deserve. I know with Anajar and Levine, they got my back. They could get yours too. Don't settle for just any attorney. Demand Anajar and Levine, because that's the Anajar and Levine difference. All it takes, one phone call. Pick up the phone and get that free consultation today. That's 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. Take back control now with Anajar and Levine. We'll blitz the book on the flip side, put together a little bit of a parlay to send us into the weekend. It's Russo and Rizzo on a Friday edition on ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
Want to accelerate your career as a manager or executive in the exciting industry of sports? Florida Atlantic University's MBA in Sport Management program is ranked #1 in Florida and 10th in the world. Students learn practical and applied skills from top faculty and experts who work in the industry. With a 94% placement rate for all grads, the full-time MBA program sets students up for success in the world of sports. Check out Florida Atlantic University's MBA in Sport Management program today by going to business.fau.edu.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED, because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at hims.com/joy, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs, with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
I'm Mark Anajar. I'm Glenn Levine. I'm Ellie Anajar. Together, we're Anajar and Levine, and our team is a triple threat to big insurance companies.
Don't settle with the insurance companies for a fraction of what your case is worth. We'll fight to get you the maximum compensation you deserve.
That's the Anajar and Levine difference. Get your free case review right now. We'll help you take back control of your life. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
In office, West Palm Beach.
Good people. It's Theo Dorsey. Travel back to prehistoric times for Dino Night at Roger Dean Chevrolet Stadium, Saturday, June 21st at 4 p.m. Presented by Cox Science Center. Come out and get your picture taken with your favorite dinosaurs while also taking in a ball game. Plus, it's also another Kids Club Saturday with kids running the bases after the game. Stop by the ticket office to purchase your tickets or go to RogerDeanChevroletStadium.com.
A resort destination beyond compare, yet conveniently close to home. The Breakers Palm Beach offers everything you desire with the service you deserve in a breathtaking oceanfront setting. Immerse yourself in unparalleled seaside glamour and enjoy all the Breakers has to offer as you create lasting memories with those who matter most. The best part, you don't have to travel far to feel worlds away. Visit thebreakers.com or call 1-800-BREAKERS today.
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Russo and Rizzo rolling on here on ESPN 106.3. Colin Russo, Christian Cat, streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter /X at ESPN West Palm. We're also on your radio dial at ESPN 106.3. Christian, I think it's time for us to think about a couple games now. We got a packed weekend. We got a little Game 7 action. So because of that, it's time for us to blitz the book with our pals over at Hard Rock Bet.
Send some heat. Pin your ears back. It's time to blitz the book. Presented by Hard Rock Bet.
Blitz the book with Hard Rock Bet. Christian and I are going to put together a little bit of a parlay. Now, Christian, you're going to have to carry the bulk here because I am up in Chicago. And therefore, you are the Florida man. You have access to the Hard Rock Bet app. So a couple things here. A couple games that I like. Let's take a couple baseball games this weekend, number one. And number two, we have the College World Series coming up, too. We got the Coastal Carolina and LSU facing off, I believe, starting tomorrow. Yes, 6 o'clock tomorrow on ESPN. So let's take that game. Let's take Game 7. And I'm sure you have some obscure league in Uzbekistan that we're going to break down as well. So what do we got here?
Can I start with the wedding that Mike Rizzo is going to? Odds that he takes someone home with him that night? What would you place that? I don't know. Dude found somebody at the Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final that apparently is off limits to talk about on the airwaves. That's all I heard about. Hey, I tell you what, if I wasn't sick 2 days ago, that would have led the show. Mike Rizzo, you promiscuous boy. You promiscuous young man.
Mike didn't want to talk about it, so I can't force the guy to talk about it, but now that he's not here to defend himself, we can talk about it. Mike was at the Edmonton Panther Game 6, and he was spitting game, as they say, with a member of, was it Edmonton Media, something like that?
I don't know the specifics. They were from Canada, and he was showing them the ropes on everything. It's like he sprinted down the concourse to hold an elevator for her. He neglected all of his responsibilities of work that night in order to make sure that this young woman had an easier time covering Stanley Cup Final Game 6. It was crazy.
It was a Romeo moment. It was a little Romeo, and it was quite a joy to watch because Mike's getting back in the game now. We can't. Mike didn't want to talk about it.
He's been in the game. He just has been taking L after L after L.
He needed a win, Christian. He needed a win. Is that even a win? Is that even a win?
We don't know if he
I don't even know the extent of the story. I think he got her number. I
don't know if he touched home plate or not.
I think he got her number. Now listen. She lives in Edmonton. What is he going to go Edmonton to Toronto to Atlanta to Palm Beach International? Is that going to be the plan?
You had a interesting theory about why this woman was being taken such an interest in Mike Rizzo, particularly just anyone in general. You thought that she was looking for documentation.
Maybe.
Someone from outside the country.
It's hard these days. It is hard these days. Maybe she wants to live in Florida. Needs to find a husband.
He's got a place down here.
He does.
But we're not going to talk about it. Mike didn't want us to talk about it, so
that's all we can say. I can't supply specifics, but it was funny seeing at Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final, and Mike, instead of being infatuated with what's going on the ice,
back to the ice, completely back to the ice.
That's a good point. Back to the ice, talking with a member. I don't even think she was Edmonton Media. She was just there. And Mike had the starry eyes or whatever they call it, the googly eyes. That was taking most of Mike's attention during that game, which is funny.
You want to hear something even funnier?
What's that?
I was not supposed to hear, but I did hear it, and it's fair game because it's about me. So she got up to go do something. I don't know, get snacks or something, and walked in the general vicinity. We're all the way to the left of the media area. So if you get up out of your seat, you're going right.
Okay.
She gets up, she leaves. As it's well known, I was not here 2 days ago because I was sick, and I was tending to my illness through that night. So maybe about 2 minutes after she got up and left, I also got up to go to the bathroom, walking right. And I jokingly go to Mike Rizzo. Don't worry about it, Mike. I'm just going to the bathroom. You have nothing to worry about.
Not making a move on your girl.
And then Theo goes, oh, man, jokingly, obviously, I've been in a relationship for 8.5 years. I got an upset stomach. He goes, uh-oh, cat's on the prowl. And then Mike goes, he thinks I can't hear him. Because I actually did wait until she got further away to make Mike feel better. I don't know. And Mike goes, I've got nothing to worry about. Mike was confident. Mike had her hook, line, and sinker, apparently.
I'll air this out, too. This is also funny.
Okay, nice. We got more. We're not going to talk about it, so we might as well talk about it. I don't know.
When Mike thought, I'm not going to lie, Mike did hit it off with this woman, this individual, Mike Rizzo, that is. And when we were waiting to get onto the ice, so we were in the concourse, the production concourse at the Amarant Bank Arena, and we're waiting at the concourse, and Mike comes by, and he goes like, I just hit a grand slam, hitting it off with this girl, and he's like, I just hit a grand slam just now. I'm like, Mike, you met this girl an hour ago. You hit a grand slam? What is a grand slam in this situation? You got her number? I don't know. Good. All right.
I guess
Good for you,
hit
Mike.
a grand slam as in was fortunate to meet this person in one place of all places. That feels more of a luck thing. Not that you
Oh, and
pressed
I'm going to
all
give
the right
Mike
buttons.
credit. I'm going to give Mike credit. He did a good job there.
So he had a good piece of hitting.
I don't think the time and the place is good. I don't think he should have done it at Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final when their Panthers are trying to, clutch up a Stanley Cup. But it was like that Robin Williams from Good Will Hunting moment when he had tickets to Game 6 of Red Sox and the Pudge Fisk home run, and he slid him the ticket, and he's like, I got to go see about a girl. It was literally like that. It was like Good Will Hunting.
Mike didn't hit a grand slam. He had a slap base hit to right field. He dunked it over the second baseman's head, and he rounded first base and clapped his hands. That's what happened.
As Robin Williams said in Good Will Hunting, sorry guys, can't go to the game. I got to go see about a girl.
So yeah, as you were saying, Coastal Carolina LSU Game 1.
Yeah, we got to do some Coastal Carolina. What are the odds there? Do you have that up in front of you?
LSU minus 175, Coastal Carolina plus 125 in that first game. If you want to talk about the World Series winner, it's LSU minus 190, Coastal Carolina plus 155.
I think this is an easy Coastal Carolina.
Series or game?
Series. I can't make game-by-game prediction. I don't know enough about the pitching, but I don't even think it's been announced yet. But a Coastal Carolina to win the series, I think, is the most juice. LSU shouldn't be there. I watched that Arkansas collapse when my flight landed because it was at the end of the game, and that Arkansas having a 5-3 lead in the ninth inning, and they had a chance to close it on a line drive to left field, and the left fielder made a crucial error that allowed 2 runs to score, tie it, and then all of a sudden a man on second, boop, base hit into center field, and the game was over. That was as big of a collapse as I've seen in a minute, and because of that, LSU shouldn't be there. Coastal Carolina's got all the mojo. I think we should go with them. What is that, the plus 190 you said?
To win the game, they are plus 155. Actually, excuse me.
What about the series?
The series is 155, yes. Coastal Carolina to win the College Baseball World Series in Omaha.
You like that? Let's take
money.
that.
Let's go for it. I haven't watched a lick of college baseball, and it's really I usually do watch it. I don't know, just plans have gotten in the way of it. NBA Finals gotten in the way with it. I'll watch this weekend. Give me Coastal Carolina. It's easier to play with the juice, especially when you're building a parlay. You want to go to Major League Baseball now. I'm looking at the Orioles, who are usually when you're betting baseball, and maybe one team's too heavy of a favorite, you bet the run line, essentially just minus 1.5. The Yankees, after a really poor performance, losing the series to the Angels over the weekend, 3-1, they are not just big money line favorites. The run line is minus 2.5. If you want to get better odds, it's Yankees minus 2.5 plus 100 in their game tonight.
Oh, my God.
It's Max Fried against Sugano. Max Fried, obviously, a good season so far. 1.9 ERA. He has been ace material without Garrett Cole in that rotation. Do you want to lay the 2.5 runs for the Yankees? Or if you give a Major League Baseball team, hey, they're getting paid to be there too. Or the Orioles the play here?
I don't like the -2.5. That you're asking for a whole lot. Yes, the Yankees offense woke up a little bit in that game yesterday, but I would say that that's a risky line just to get back to the odds. I think if there's plus money, I think that's the theme today. I'm down to take the Orioles tonight.
So the Orioles are -120 at the +2.5 run line.
Let's keep it close. We don't even need to win. Let's just keep it close and survive. I like the +2.5. You agree?
Yeah, let's go for it. And you're going to be in Chicago at Wrigley Field. Do you want to take that game?
Well, the Cubs already played today, and they lost, but they got the Mariners again tomorrow. So that game's going to be at 1:20, another day game, and you're going to have a lot of offense in this game. The over-under on runs is like 12.5, something like that, 13.
Yeah.
So now George Kirby was my guy. He was on the bump for the Mariners, but on the Cubs, you got to root for a Cub victory if I'm going to be in the building, right?
Yeah, you kind of do. Pete Crow Armstrong is something else, man.
They got a great offense. They can score with anybody. So I'm actually interested in the Cubs there. So what are the lines there? Do you have that game up on Hard Rock Bet?
Yeah, got it right here in front of me. The Cubs are the favorites in tomorrow's 2/21 pitch, -175 on the money line. The run line, -1.5 for the Cubs, +105.
Okay. You want to take the run line here?
I don't. I just want to take them to win. We're adding it to a parlay, so it's a little bit easier to stomach the vig there.
Let's just take them to win. I like that. So, all right, so there's our baseball pick, and let's shift to Game 7. So we have Game 7 on Sunday between the Pacers and the Thunder. What do we got here?
So it started at 7.5. The Thunder, the favorites, at home in their winner-take-all Game 7. They shaved a half point off. Possibly a little bit of moolah coming in on the Pacers on the spread. It's OKC -7. Money line is -300. And the over-under is 210.
I would take the over in the Pacers if you wanted to knock 2 in there.
I hate taking both the total and the side in a game.
Okay.
I just can't get around to it because sometimes you find yourself in a spot in a game where you can't root for both. If one wins, the other one's going to lose. Maybe if you're trying to mount a comeback, like in the fourth quarter. Not going forward, maybe you can, obviously, both sides have to hit eventually, but I don't like hitting both the spread. I'll take a money line.
Do you like the Pacers?
I do like the Pacers. I like the Pacers. Take the spread at least. Get the bonus money.
All right, so we're definitely taking the Pacers. Do you want to add another game? Do you want to leave it as is? What are the odds if we just take the Pacers +7?
So on this 4-bet parlay with Coastal Carolina winning the College Baseball World Series. Tonight, Orioles-Yankees. Orioles +2.5. Cubs to win tomorrow. Pacers +7 on Sunday. That gives us at 13-1. Plus 13,034. On that 4-bet parlay, essentially a $10 bet wins you $143. I think we throw in a little bit of spice and we take a look at the Aussie Football League.
Okay. What do you have in mind?
Got some action tonight. Late night action. Carlton Blues versus the North Melbourne Kangaroos.
Oh, my God. What are the odds?
North Melbourne is a heavy underdog. They're +300 to win. And the spread in the Aussie Rules Football League is +25.5.
25.5?
You're going to give the Kangaroos 25.5. That's what they're telling us right now.
Should we take the Kangaroos?
I think we take the Kangaroos. We're betting Aussie Rules Football. It only makes sense.
Let's get the 30 points. I like that. Let's +25.5. The North Melbourne Kangaroos.
That's awesome.
I like it.
There had to been when they incepted that league, the Aussie Rules Football League. How many of those cities were saying, "Give us, we want the Kangaroos. We want to be the Kangaroos."
Well, that's like native to Australia. Like that, they only find kangaroos in Australia. So, like, what are you gonna make a bunch of team names, not make one the Kangaroo?
It was like the Kangaroo and the Koala Bear. Those are like the Tigers and the Lions of American pro sports.
Have to do it. Have to.
Yeah.
It's like the Florida Gators. Like you're right there. You're the only team that can do the Gators. Makes sense.
So now we get 26-1, a $10 bet on our 5-bet parlay, taking the North Melbourne Kangaroos +25.5, Pacers +7 in Game 7 of their series, Cubs to win outright tomorrow, Orioles +2.5 tonight, and Coastal Carolina to win The Men's College Baseball World Series plus 155. A $10 bet wins you $273.82. Lock it in.
Sign me up. That's our parlay. How about that? All right, we were in Coastal Carolina this weekend in the Indiana Pacers, and if we could find it, the North Melbourne Kangaroos in the Australian Football League.
And if for some reason you find a line for Mike Rizzo to get action over the weekend, not sportsbook action, different kind of action, please forward us that line. We'll try to add it if possible.
We'll see. We'll see. Can Hard Rock take that input? Can we reach out to Hard Rock and place an odd on that?
We'll make some phone calls. We'll try to get some people involved.
We'll make a couple calls to see if we can get Mike Rizzo's appearances or performances at the wedding that he is at this weekend.
Said he wants to cut up the dance floor and said get greasy, which I didn't know what get greasy on the dance floor meant until Tina told me through the mouth of Rizzo, who told her it means making out on the dance floor. Like hardcore French kissing on a dance floor.
Oh, dude, you can't do that at somebody else's wedding, right? You can't do that at somebody else's wedding.
Apparently, you can.
A wedding you're traveling in for? Oh, you can't do that. You can't do that. You got to be better than that. Can't do that. Can't allow that. No, I'm not going to let that happen. I'm not going to let that happen. That's Christian Cat, Colin Russo. That was us blitzing the book, presented by Hard Rock Bet. We'll close out the program, send you off into the weekend. On the flip side, it's Russo and Rizzo right here on ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
Lytle, Ryder, Smith, Ivy, and Fronrath, proudly representing the residents of South Florida since 1985, and proud supporter of Inter Miami on ESPN West Palm. Lytle, Ryder, Smith, Ivy, and Fronrath has attorneys across South Florida ready to fight for your rights. They've recovered billions for their clients, and you won't pay anything unless you win your case. If you have been injured, call the attorneys at Lytle, Ryder, Smith, Ivy, and Fronrath, 561-867-4117, or online at foryourrights.com. Main office in West Palm Beach.
The weather is heating up and summer is here. Stay cool with EDS Air Conditioning. Right now, qualified customers can take advantage of 0% interest for 60 months on a brand new AC. Hot streaks belong in sports, not in your home. With over 800 Google reviews and a 4.8 star rating, EDS is the name you can trust since 2006. Visit EDSIsYes.com today. Game day comfort starts now. Don't sweat the small stuff.
At St. Lucie Battery and Tire, batteries came before tires. We've been selling and servicing all types of batteries for over 50 years. So when you need a battery for nearly anything, we have it, as well as the fast, professional installation you need. We carry premium batteries for all your needs: automotive, commercial, marine, RV, and specialty. We also offer delivery and on-site installation, serving our customers quality products for over 50 years in the home of honest, reliable service. Go to slbt.com and book your next appointment.
Improve your golf game fast at the all-new Kaiser University Golf Coaching Center. The Kaiser University Golf Coaching Center has the facilities, tools, and coaching you need. Enjoy the best facilities in the area with an expansive chipping and putting area, practice bunkers, a huge putting green, plus a 2,000 square foot indoor training area with 3 hitting bays, cutting-edge analysis technology, and more. The Kaiser University Golf Coaching Center in the heart of Palm Beach County off I-95 and the Turnpike. Find out more at kaisergolfcenter.com.
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3. Colin Russo, Christian Cat. We're streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter/X at ESPN 106.3 and at ESPN West Palm on our socials. Go back and watch it in full there, or tag along every day 4 to 6 on these very airwaves. We're also, you want to listen to us in podcast format, you can do that on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, all those great places. Well, Christian, I just came to my attention that you're doing a karaoke night for the first time in a long time with Theo Dorsey tonight. How are you going to play this? Do you have something in mind that you're going to have to perform? Because you're not going to go to karaoke night and not participate in said karaoke. So you need something here.
Yeah, I've been meaning to do karaoke for a long time now. Whenever I have the itch for it, there just isn't karaoke going on at a place in the area that night. But fortunately, Duffy's on Clematis. I have the itch. I've got the backing behind me, a.k.a. more than just me wanting to go do some karaoke. So we're going tonight, and I've got like a list of a couple of songs that hopefully I can get people going. You know, because I don't want to be selfish with karaoke. I don't want to be the only one who knows the words to a song that I'm singing at karaoke. I want people to join in. So I think a little bit of Fall Out Boy might be on the track. Some Sugar We're Going Down.
Are you going to prepare these songs? Do you know these songs already?
I know these songs already. And they'll have the words there for me, so the in-between choruses will make it a little bit easier on myself. So hopefully it's a good performance. Someone I can be proud of. But
you got to have a little liquid confidence before you get up there, right?
Exactly. I was thinking about that. Like, I guess we're getting there 30 minutes after it officially starts. So
I think they last throughout the night, no?
Yes.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah. But I hope I'm not the first person to break the ice and take the mic the first time. Hopefully I can watch someone else, maybe get 2 drinks down before I eventually take the stage and show off my talents.
And you want to be the first amongst the group that you're going with to get up there?
Want to is not the word. I'm anticipating having to.
The obligation.
Yeah.
Somebody has to do it, therefore I will.
Yeah, I'm the one who's going to be most okay with it. I know my girlfriend might not ever step foot on stage at a karaoke event ever. It's a miracle she's actually showing up to begin with, because she's not look at me. You know, she's not trying to grab the attention of the room whatsoever. Right. But hopefully enough drinks down, we can drop all of those social barriers and get into the nitty-gritty of karaoke.
Yeah, you got to set the tone here. This is interesting. I love a karaoke night. I mean, I don't go outwardly seek a karaoke night, but when it falls into your lap, I think it is a lot of fun. But another thing about that too is you don't want to be the guy who does the song that nobody knows.
Yeah.
You got to do a song that people know because they want to follow along. Yes, people might be impressed if you're actually pretty decent, but I think the thing you got to be most worried about is choosing a song that will please the crowd. I think that's honestly more important than any sort of performance that you could possibly put on.
Yeah, you got to be a little bit selfless. We kind of talked about it, I believe. Actually, no, we talk about it with Tina Costanza, of course, on Theoretically Speaking, when she joins for the happy hour, and Mike Rizzo when he was filling in for Theo. I wonder if the conversation between your karaoke song and your touch tunes songs, the songs that you request to be played at bars, and you maybe even pay money on your phone to get them on the speakers, are they the same or are they different? Because you got to be a little bit selfless with both, and maybe the amount of lyrics is different in each.
Yeah, it's tricky. I got a karaoke story for you on basically how not to play this. So when I was in Florence, Italy last summer, I was with 4 of my buddies who I met up with for a couple days when I was solo traveling. I was backpacking through Europe, and I went to school. I lived in Florence. And what we did is we went to a karaoke night at a bar called Red Garter in Florence, Italy, which is like an Americanized karaoke bar. You got to wait in a long line to do a song. And, you know, we weren't sober, let's put it that way. And I personally thought it would be funny. Classic me. I thought it'd be funny to do Forever by Drake. And let's just say the crowd did not know it, and we just did it. And it's like this hard, fast rap song. And previous songs were like Sweet Caroline. Everybody's getting into it. And then all of a sudden in comes Forever by Drake, Eminem, Kanye West, and Lil Wayne. And 4 guys from the United States trying to do their rendition of it.
There they go. Back in
there they go.
stadiums.
Somebody's taking bets. They're clearing out house. That's how it goes. That's Christian Cat, Colin Russo sending you off into the weekend. It's been Russo and Rizzo. See you on Monday on ESPN 106.3.
Get ready, South Florida. It's the 12th annual Boca Raton Bowl. Tuesday, December 23rd, 2 p.m. at FAU's Flagler Credit Union Stadium. 2 of the best group of 5 teams go head-to-head in the ultimate holiday showdown. Over 150 players have gone from this field to the NFL. Who's next? Visit BocaRatonBowl.com for the latest, including when tickets will go on sale. The 12th annual Boca Raton Bowl. Tuesday, December 23rd, 2 p.m. at Flagler Credit Union Stadium.
At Progressive, we understand the bond you have with your boat. It's why people name theirs.
I was pretty hungry and looking at a menu when I named my boat Change Your Tuna. The backup names were Trick or Trout, I Salmonly Swear,